Yesterday, Sergei Lavrov addressed in New Delhi. Lavrov is arguably the second most powerful politician in Russia. He ended his speech with these lines: India and Russia share a special privileged strategic partnership. I hope that our Indian friends will be promoting. In response, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar called the Russia-India relationship steady and sustained by strong sentiment. These words make it clear that this old friendship, sometimes described as a drift, still remains. India see the shake-up in Russia? How does India see Putin's attempt to remain in power? And what does this mean for the relationship? India has a remarkable history of democracy, we know. Will that reputation be hurt by siding with leaders with authoritarian streaks? The elephant in the room. The only thorn, if I may, in India-Russia ties. On WION Edit, that's what we'll discuss. One thing is clear: Vladimir Putin is poised to stay in power for a long time, done in line with the democratic traditions of Russia, quote unquote. The move should bring some stability in Russia, and that is only good news for India. If Putin wields absolute power, he threatens Russia's democracy, yes, but that is something for the Russians. The only concern for India is its equation with Russia is China. China has been a traditional, historical and ideological ally of the Kremlin. Last year, Xi Jinping, the president of China, even called him friend. In the past, the China-Russia relationship has blown hot and cold. There was a border dispute which ran for many decades. China did not help Russia's efforts to build its might in West Asia. And given this friction, Russia viewed against a rapidly rising China. Russia pushed for India's inclusion in the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, with this in mind. But a lot has changed since then. The world saw a financial crisis in the last decade. Russia's economy dwindled. Beijing and Moscow came closer. Financial help from China was a major reason for Russia's recovery from the 2008 economic crisis. And since then, Russia and China have expanded their ties. Its export destination is China, and its top import origin is also China. China invests 10 times more in Russia than what Russia invests in China. Last year, Russia even dumped 100 billion. The Kremlin holds 25% of the total yuan reserves in the world. In comparison, India and Russia have strong defense ties. Yes, there's trade as well and historical ties. 70% of India from Russia. This is a strategically significant equation. 4 months ago, during Indian Prime Minister Modi's visit to Vladivostok in Russia, Putin insisted on an alliance with China and India, which is tricky. Alliances with India, China and Turkey to counter American influence in the region. But India and China have their own contradictions. Same for India and Turkey. So New Delhi should see Putin's continuity in office and his growing closeness with China. By the way, it's unlikely that Putin will have his way without any resistance in Moscow. 8 years ago, when the then Prime Minister Vladimir Putin swapped his job with the then President Dmitry Medvedev, broke out in Moscow. And now the opposition is more visible and active in Russia than it was in the year 2012. India must navigate this equation with equipoise. Let the Russians decide what they want. India has a serious task at hand. New Delhi must assert itself in the Indo-Pacific and prevent China from disrupting its relationship with Russia.